ATL Game Time Live. We'll have comments and analysis here at the desk and also from all of the players and coaches. Casey Stern and the champ, Steve Fish, and the Jet are here as well. And Jet, I'll start with you because when you look at Ben Simmons, especially because of the whole comments with the booing, there was going to be a lot of attention. What different version of Ben did you see from the first minute of this game?
Well, we got exactly what we were asking for. Put the ball in Ben Simmons' hands and let him facilitate. As you can see, if you look at the starters, the numbers are evenly distributed. 17 from Reddick, 23 from Embiid, 19 from Harris. Now, Butler didn't get a lot of looks that he wanted, but for the most part, everybody else was involved. And Ben Simmons came out aggressive from the jump. He was getting downhill, he was getting in the lane, and he was either creating for himself or for others. That's the Ben Simmons that they're going to need throughout the rest of this series if they want to win and go on to the next round.
No question about it. I thought the Sixers, starting with Simmons, played with more force, more energy right from the tip-off. The film didn't lie. A lot of times we think that it's telling us something that it's not. But to me, Simmons right away got into the block, which we talked about in game one, putting himself in positions to be successful on his own without play calls, being more aggressive, using his size, getting downhill, not just standing, waiting for the basketball, taking advantage of the Brooklyn Nets in that zone, getting into the middle of the defense, and really playing his game. And then here, again, just downhill, getting to the basket, and he played at those angles all night tonight.
He played big. He used his size, right? We talked about this in the pregame. People watch game one. It is something that we saw down the stretch this season too, Jed, is that, look, coming in transition, he'll go. But sometimes in the half court, he'll just look and wait. But to go to the paint, there was one play he bounced off Karuk's and just went himself to the hole. That is aggression that makes him a different player. Now the question is, are we going to get it every night the rest of the way? Because they're going to need that, forget just this round, if they want to go the distance this year.
No, they'll need it. And again, it was his energy, it was his effort, his willingness to, like you said, mix it up. Come hard at him in transition, get to the paint. In the half court, I'm on the block, I'll flash to the high post, catch the ball, turn and finish, or turn and create. So he had an all-around game tonight, and again, they need it from him. It has to become consistent for them to go on to the next round.
I feel like Chuck Woolery and Scrabble, which all three of us were old enough to have watched, playing off the A in aggression. That was Embiid again, 24 minutes, or 22 tonight, 24 in game one. But Fish, we talked about it, some of those threes were, his body doesn't feel comfortable banging, getting in there. But there were a couple of times he stood at the three-point line, open shot, they're letting him take it, drove to the bucket. How much more aggressive did you see Embiid tonight?
Yeah, he was much more aggressive, I think, mentally to start out. After playing in game one, seeing himself on film and getting that first game under his belt, I think physically speaking, that freed his mind to go out and be himself. He did not settle. There were times where he could have taken threes tonight, but he decided to impose his will on Jared Allen and the Brooklyn Nets. He took the game to them physically as well as Ben Simmons, and I thought those two guys set the tone for everybody else. J.J. Redick cut hard, and he played with more force, and the Sixers, they took this basketball game tonight.
They had outplayed Brooklyn in the first half, but if you didn't see the game, and if you did, certainly you know this, you would know that it was tight. A 2-point game. It could have been bigger, but Brooklyn hung in there. That third quarter, these are Warriors type of numbers. A franchise playoff record for a quarter, 51 Jet in that third, 10 of them from Mike Scott. What did you see in that quarter? Because that was really the difference maker in this basketball.
Well, I thought they were just more aggressive and more assertive. If you watch Brooklyn, they definitely missed Ed Davis's presence and Dudley's presence on both ends of the floor. But talk about Mike Scott. He was efficient tonight. He got his shots in rhythm. But I think it was really because of the attention that Ben Simmons was getting because of his aggression. Getting inside, getting to the paint. Now the traffic comes, and boom, here's Mike Scott standing on the perimeter where he's most comfortable, knocking down threes. Tobias Harris as well was a recipient of Ben Simmons' penetration tonight, getting those kickouts for threes from the corner and trailing in transition.
You guys know this, especially if you're looking at a situation where a team is saying, I can't let Shaq beat me. You're going to get shots. You got to make those shots. Now, normally we're looking at guards. Boban, Okay? Because they were literally, like you were talking about backing off Ben, they were giving Boban enough room to just go out there and dance like it was his own show. He showed range, 7 for his first 11 from the floor. He was a big factor tonight, Fish, for this team.
With confidence. And I think that's what we all love about watching him play, listening to his interviews, is that he's a confident dude.
Yeah.
And that's how he played the game tonight. He wasn't afraid of the moment. When he was open, he shot the basketball. This is something he's worked on before. He wasn't just trying something
His touch
new.
is okay, too, by the way, for a big dude, right?
He wasn't just trying something new all of a sudden in the playoffs. He's capable of making that shot. He stepped up and made it. And that's how you earn the trust of your teammates.
Yes.
Jet, playing with great players, when that ball comes to you, you have to show them that you've earned their trust in giving it up. And Boban did that tonight.
One thing the Nets have always done, and we talk about it with both these games tonight because the Clippers bench has probably the best 1-2 punch when you look at Lou Will and Harrell. That second unit always has the advantage. And even tonight, they did by a small margin because Dinwiddie is a bench player and so is LeVert. But without Ed Davis, they got doubled up in rebounds tonight. And that's a major, major factor. Only played 5 minutes. He gave it a go, wasn't healthy. Dudley didn't play. How much was that in those second chance points a big issue for them? Because we know they could take you off the dribble, but they really didn't have multiple opportunities.
No, they never were able to get those multiple opportunities, which a lot of times leads to three-point baskets for the Brooklyn Nets. Now, they still played their style of ball free and loose, and they shot a lot of threes. But for me, they just looked a little lax, Fish. And what's the company line? We already stole one. I mean, we're playing with house's money. We're going home after this. So they didn't really show up with that same intent, that same mindset of we need to get a win. It was kind of like we already got one. If they give us this one, we'll take it. But we're not going to go out here and force the issue.
I thought the first half they did. And I think in the third quarter when they got hit in the mouth, it was different.
Yeah.
I think in that third quarter, those are the thoughts that started to creep in. Like, this is going to be hard to win this game tonight. We've done a lot of work. We had a good first half. We got one in the first game. All right, it's their turn tonight. And you could see it just opened up and separated from there.
We're going to hear from both coaches. You'll also get a chance to hear from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, in particular on the net side. And I think it's important to point out something you watched develop in this game. We talked about it after game one. Even though Brooklyn can hit a lot of threes, once they saw Redick and others they could exploit, they were driving, right? You guys both talked about it in our pregame, attack, attack, attack. If you go back to it, and I bet you Kenny does, from a coaching standpoint, that third quarter especially, they started to panic a bit by taking bad threes. And you saw them, instead of slowing that pace down, Fish, I thought really kind of play into Ben's hands with long rebounds by some of those misses. Not Dinwiddie as much. He seemed to drive, but LeVert, I think, and Russell were taking some bad threes, no?
Yeah, they were, in particular without much movement. The earlier ones in the clock, maybe coming off the initial drag screen right away, no pass shots. But it's something that they do use to stay in the game, to get separation in games. It's a part of their identity. And so it'll be an adjustment for them. This is a team that's the first time in this position, understanding that you can't always rely on shooting the three in order to get back in the game or stay close in games. Understanding when it's time, like the Sixers. Instead of settling for threes, I'm going to the rim, I'm going to attack, I'm going to be aggressive, get to the foul line, and then that allows our defense to get set more often.
You guys know this. I think there's a game plan going in, right, in a playoff game. I think it's any sport, and then it's kind of just on the fly. We were talking about this. When you're seeing them get away and that lead is kind of expanding, you saw Russell at one point was on the bench while Dinwiddie and LeVert, now they've got their set ways that they handle the three guards. Do you wonder, and do you think Kenny maybe should think about in situations like that, put all three out there, Jet? Because defensively, if they're all out there, you're going to have at least one guy at every time who could break somebody down off the dribble, get to the basket.
Well, playing the three smaller guard definitely poses a matchup problem for Philadelphia. They just don't have the guard depth to match up. But on the other hand, defensively, they're at a huge disadvantage because you're talking about Ben Simmons 6'9", 6'10", and B 6'10", then Jimmy Butler 6'7". So that size is a factor, and so it's kind of hard to play that lineup for long periods of time. But it would be an effective one, especially going back home in Brooklyn, where we know they're going to be letting that thing fly. They may go small and be effective.
Yeah, Dinwiddie 8 of 16 off the bench. Really, Hollis Jefferson was good. Most of it was late. But other than that, they didn't get much without Davis and Dudley playing.
Yeah, and in particular, I think their total number of points was really high. I think the bench still scored a crazy number, like 75 points or more. But the impact in terms of being doubled up on the boards, I think that Jared Dudley and Ed Davis, they provide timely offensive rebounds. Jared Dudley is good in rotation, taking charges, helping do little things that are winning plays that they missed a little bit. Hopefully they can get it back in game 3.
And if a team takes that many threes and you got the best three-point shooter in the league and he doesn't make one, not good. Here's Kenny Atkinson after the loss.
They picked up their intensity defensively. Thought they did a fantastic job. They got into us. I would classify it as extreme physicality. Denied us, held us, pushed us. And, I thought we did a good job of kind of holding the fort the first half, because that was, that's how they, that was their mentality. We responded okay. Third quarter, we didn't respond. Obviously, it's really the story of the game, that third quarter.
Kenny, what's your take on the play involving Allen and Embiid? It was reviewed.
Listen, I said, I think that their coach said before the series started, it's going to be a fist fight, and they threw a couple punches, and I have no comment on the call or anything. I know, but again, very, very physical. Great experience for our guys to understand what playoff basketball is all about, and I know this, we have to respond. They just dominated us in the paint, dominated us on the boards. And somehow we ended up putting them on the free throw line again. So we got some things we got to look at.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, Brian.
And obviously Ed was coming in with a little bit of an injury and he had the fouls, but did that flare up again, or was there a reason that?
No, I think the game got out of hand, and then I made the decision. I erred on the side of keeping them out, but I think it was a 4-point game, 6-point, 10-point game even. Probably would have put him in. And then Rondé, I want to just get some more speed out there. Let's go opposite. We weren't rebounding well, with our bigger group, and said let's go with speed. And I thought Rondé gave us some good minutes, but. Combination of understanding Ed's a little banged up and understanding the situation.
Kenny, in the third quarter, they got out on that 14-0 run to start with. What was your thinking in waiting so long to call a timeout or making?
Yeah, we got a stoppage in play. I don't know what the score was with that. And I got the guys together and we talked about it, and I think it was 8-0 or 10-0, don't like to use those timeouts indiscriminately. I thought we'd come back. I thought we'd bounce back. Obviously, that wasn't the case.
Kenny, Mike Scotto from The Athletic. To come out of this 1-1, regardless of the score tonight, what's your overall assessment of the 2 games here?
Yeah, look on the positive side. They came back. They played a heck of a game. It's 1-1. We go back to Brooklyn. I mean, the old story. If you would have told us before we're splitting here in Philly, I think we'd be happy. But not pleased in the way we presented ourselves today. I don't think we were below average, quite honestly. And but I do think the first half really gives me hope. We can go toe to toe with these guys, and one bad quarter, we're gonna have to flush it and understand. One thing about the Brooklyn Nets, to see they've always bounced back and always responded. After a game like this, I expect our guys to respond.
Right. You talked going in that obviously. Not all of Jared's issues with Embiid are just being physically overwhelmed, and a lot of it is positioning and not biting on fakes and such. But you also said that he had to play better. What did you see from him out there, and what areas does he need to improve on for games 3 and 4?
I thought he was better. I thought he was better. Listen, I think for Jared, and you look at our whole first unit. I don't know how many rebounds. I thought. Not just him, but as a team, we did not rebound. That first unit did not rebound, and we got to pick that up. If we don't we don't find a solution to our rebounding woes, it's going to be over quick. So it's on Jared to pick it up, but it's on the rest of those guys too. It's important kind of advantage they have.
Kenny, one more for me. What did you see in terms of the defensive matchup with Simmons against D'Angelo?
I thought Ben was excellent. He really picked it up, and it was really in that third quarter. They picked him up full court. They denied him. I think that got us out of our rhythm. He obviously his athleticism and size and his activity was very good tonight. Caused us a lot of problems.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, Kenny Atkinson talking about literally and figuratively taking a couple of punches, and they did. There were a couple of interesting flagrant calls in this game, some toughness. We were just talking about it while we were listening to Kenny about the Nets. Look, you don't want to take away they're trying to win this series and go far. This is a big step for them. 28 wins last year, right?
They found that out tonight. I think after game one, they saw themselves on film being passive, settling for long distance shots, etc. Tonight, just more force, taking advantage of the smaller size nets.
All right, last time he was answering questions about cell phones. This time he'll be getting congratulation texts on his cell phone. Here's Brett Brown.
Hey Brett, Kyle Newbeck, Philly
Hey
Boys.
Kyle,
You
how
got
are you?
this. How do you feel right now about the way your team responded tonight?
I mean, I think we came out in the third period defensively. First, we needed to. They are that capable. Brooklyn is that capable of putting like quick, big points on the board, especially with their three-point shooting, their ability to make threes. And I thought that defensively, the way the team came out and responded to some first half stuff that we felt we needed to fix was a fantastic statement.
Brett, you guys seem, sorry, right here.
I love you.
That you made the conscious effort to get to the rim right out of the gate, Ben included. You were so sure he was going to be better than he had been in game one.
Yeah.
I mean, could he have made those adjustments in game one, or did he have to see the game to understand?
Yeah. I think in the light of day, when you have a team performance that wasn't what we all wanted, and he had an individual performance that wasn't what I know he would have wanted, and I think for him to respond to that the way that he did, he was extremely aggressive. I thought that the way he defended D'Angelo in the third period, especially, D'Angelo had no points. They had no threes, in that period. And so much of their firepower is a three-point shot. But going back to Ben, he was our bell ringer tonight. And the fact that he had 10 rebounds, 12 assists, 23 points was fantastic. But I thought his defensive effort on D'Angelo was spectacular. His aggression, especially.
Coach, right in front of you, Kai Carlin, Sixers Wire. Tonight, Tobias was able to get a couple of shots going. How important is his offense for this team moving forward?
I mean, I know it is, and I thought that he played really good defense also in the third period, but that third period, which is the breakaway period, the separation period, Tobias's offense, I think he had 12 points in that third period. We needed all of that, and you start combining that defensive energy on one end, and then the firepower offensively at the other end, and it produced tonight, I guess, the third most points in a period in the history of the NBA, which is a long time. And he was significant, I thought, especially offensively in the third period.
Brett, I'm down here to the left, Kevin from Crossing Broad.
Yep.
Can you talk about the adjustment to leave TJ out of the rotation and Jonathan and go with bring James in and play Jimmy as the point guard or point guard by committee there?
Yeah. I mean, it's a difficult decision because TJ has been a part of sort of our bloodline for a while, and the energy that he injects is contagious, and we all get. And even if you study the stat line from the game that we lost, I think he was a plus 12, which is pretty good. And so you started like looking at maybe the ripple effects of what can others do from a spatial standpoint. James's ability to, stretch the court a little bit more, try to give Jimmy the ball as a legitimate, backup point guard, a point guard when Ben wasn't on the court, influence that decision. I thought TJ handled it as we all guessed he would. He's a wonderful teammate, but it was driven for those reasons that I just said to make that decision to take TJ out of the rotation.
Coach, Jason Blevins, Philly front office. Was your sense that you guys were really putting a lot of pressure on Brooklyn through that first half, but they were able to hang in, make some shots, continue to score, but did the dam break in the third quarter, or did you make a change that just sort of like hit them a second time?
I think we did what we tried to do in the first half, just kind of like harder, better, longer type stuff. We didn't really change stuff schematically. We just did what we wanted to do better. And the margin for error when you're playing against D'Angelo and Dinwiddie as an example, where they can create separation and find enough daylight to get a shot off, is marginal. But that fragility, that little tiny like half a second you coulda, shoulda, didn't environment is punishing. And I thought that in the third period we did a better job of taking away some space, getting to their feet, being 6'10", 6'9", whatever, showing our length. And I thought everything that we're talking about now was successfully, as far as the win goes, to me, was driven through our defense in the second half.
Brett, to your left, Dave Murphy with the Inquirer. What did you think of the way Jimmy, he only had 7 points, but the way he kind of opened things up for the rest of the team in the half court, and then also kind of Ben's ability to create
All right, so there was Brett Brown talking at the presser. Obviously, it's a better feel. Talking about not only Embiid and Simmons individually, but collectively as a team. You've got to obviously face those adversities, right, to learn and grow. How much do you think Philadelphia, and I know it's only a couple of games, learned from even what happened in Game 1, and how much does it force a team to come together? Because we all wonder about that chemistry, Fish, between Game 1 and Game 2 where we don't see them when they're talking at practice and they're going over film.
Yeah, I think you find out about yourself in those adverse situations, individually and as a team. And I thought this did bring the group together a little bit. Brett Brown talked about the chess match that happened in terms of as great and impactful as T.J. McConnell is to his group. A little subtle adjustment by putting the ball in Jimmy Butler's hands more, initiating the offense. So although he didn't end up with more shot attempts, didn't shoot the ball well in particular, but 7 assists. So that's an example for everybody else that one of our best players is willing to take a little bit of a different role in a back seat to allow everybody else to eat and win. And that is something that you can build on, hopefully, going into Game 3.
Yeah, when he leaked over into that second unit, it allowed them to create open shots for Mike Scott, who's not necessarily creating by himself. But it really, Ben Simmons set the tone, because not only the aggression, but to your point, the facilitating. Because the weird part about Ben was the first 3 quarters of Game 1, he had 2 assists. And regardless of him not scoring and not having a good enough shot, not going to the line, we know he could do that. But that, to me, was a symptom of what was wrong. And then we saw from minute 1, he was out looking to impact the game tonight, Jet.
Yes, the intent was there, right? The sense of urgency. And that's when Fish talked about being in the film session, being in practice, looking each other in the eye and knowing that the series doesn't start till we get a win. This is the second game at home. The fans have been booing us. We have to get a win here and at all costs. I look at, for the first 2 quarters, it was intense. It was going to be tough. It was going to be a grinded out type game. But in the third quarter, they went into halftime. They came back out and they said, listen, this is when we're going to make our stand and we're going to put these guys away. And Brooklyn didn't quite respond with the same level of intensity. And they got blown out in that third quarter. 51 points they gave up in the third quarter.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. You pack that many people in Brooklyn into one place, I bet you it's going to be bumping on Game 3.
Oh, yeah.
They'll get plenty of energy in that building. I bet for Game 3, it's going to be a lot of fun. Speaking of which, Joel Embiid had more fun tonight in his 22 minutes, put up some good numbers, gets a W, and here he is after the W.
Joel, you had a couple of opportunities there where you could have shot that three-pointer, pulled it down, went in, you got the Euro step for the foul. I think there was another one where you played JJ with the dribble handoff. I mean, was that something you were looking to just take it down low, not be out there on the perimeter?
I was just taking what the defense was giving me. If you're gonna give me that much of space, I feel like I can do a lot of things with it. Tonight, I just decided to be aggressive and drop the ball. Some nights I'm gonna shoot it, but tonight I was just trying to be aggressive.
Joel, I got two questions. First, quickly, how's your ankle?
It's fine.
Okay. And the way you started off the third quarter, scoring the first 8 points for you guys, how intentional was that? Was that what was presenting itself in the game, or was it the coaching staff and players looking for you? How'd that come about?
Tonight, I think we made a big point of finding me in the post, and feel like my teammates did a great job of finding me. And we played out of that, and we moved the ball, we shared the ball, and then we were just aggressive.
Ben was really aggressive tonight. How did you feel like that impacted your game overall?
He's the point guard. When you see your teammate play with that type of energy, he picks you up, he lifts you up, and he makes you want to play the same way. And I thought tonight it was fantastic, and that's the energy we need for the rest of this series and the playoffs.
Getting back to Ben's question about aggression, was that something you were looking to try and do? The mindset going in today, Ben, for you to just get out there, trying to set the pace early for the team and get everybody going?
Yeah, just trying to be me. Be aggressive, find my guys, and just play the game the right way.
Ben, did you feel an extra responsibility to get Tobias off, to get JJ off because they didn't have a good game one? Is that just playing to the aggressiveness that you had?
Just trying to do my job. Trying to find guys when they're open. Mismatches, see who's open, if it's Joe, if it's Tobias, Jimmy, whoever it is, JJ. Just trying to make the right play.
It's for Joe and Ben. You guys are the All-Stars foundation for this team. Did you all feel responsibility to really just bring it for your teammates so they can follow you tonight? Was that sort of the mindset you came in that they had to follow you last night?
It's all about everybody. Everybody's got to bring it. Some nights it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter what he does, but if the three other guys on the bench don't bring it, it might not be enough. So we need everybody. We need everybody to be aggressive, follow the game plan, and play together, share the ball, and just dominate.
Joe, was it a point to be more physical tonight? Both ends of the court, and were you surprised that you got a technical on the elbow swing through at the end of the second quarter?
I wasn't surprised. I saw the replay, and obviously it wasn't intentional, and I got him pretty good, and I'm sorry about it, but okay. I'm sorry about it. It wasn't intentional, but it's just me trying to be aggressive. I'm not usually humble, that's why he's laughing. But I was just trying to be aggressive.
Joe, how does your knee feel now? And how close were you to not playing tonight?
I mean, I was out there playing for my teammates. I feel like we as a group, sometimes they need me, and I just feel like, just playing through the pain and playing for them and just be trying to give whatever I can. And obviously, missing so many games is hard to find a rhythm, and also being on minute restrictions is hard to find a rhythm. So whenever I'm out there, I just kind of forget about the pain and just play through it and, just trying to do the right things.
Joel, what did you like about, what did you like about Bovan's play tonight when he was stepping in for you?
It was great. Obviously, the defense gave him the same look all night, and he kept knocking down those shots. He was great. That's good to see that, when I come out, other guys come in and they're able to step up.
Joel, a game like this one, everybody involved, the record number of points, kind of game you guys had tonight. How much of a swing does that give you? How much of a boost does it give this team for Game 3 on Thursday night in Brooklyn?
It's great. Man, that was a great game. We beat them by 20 points. So we just got to go back and watch what worked out. And I feel like if we play the same way we did, and that's sharing the ball, that's just being aggressive, penetrating, fine shooters, Ben doing his job, me being dominant, and then defensive is just not allowing them to shoot or make so many threes. I think that's the formula, and we just got to do it 3 more times, and we're going to be good.
We'll take 2 more.
Ben, there was a moment there in the second half where you got a steal and a layup and then hit the hand to your ear like Allen Iverson egging on the crowd. Tell us what you were feeling at that moment and what made you do that.
I was thinking about the boos from last game. But, I got a lot of love for this city, the fans here, and, every time I step on the floor, I try and, play as hard as I can. And I was just showing that, the hustle I try and give each and every game is, not only for my teammates, my family, it's for the city.
Hey Ben, Jason Blevins, Philly front office. So you talked yesterday after practice about a few things. Do you feel like you delivered on the aggressiveness, the defensive attention on D'Angelo Russell, and then the engagement with the fans, like you just talked about? You feel like you delivered on everything you sort of talked about yesterday?
I think I had too many turnovers. I was aggressive. Just tried to play the game the right way. I think I delivered, but, at the same time, we still got a few more games. It's only one game.
Thanks, guys.
Embiid and Simmons, question in Game 1, answers in Game 2. We've got a series.
You're a big deal to us, so we've got big deals for you. At Men's Warehouse, it's the big deal event. Now until Easter, shop our lowest price of the season on designer sport coats at $149.